Jin here is really interesting because I think if you look at just the Gen.G composition, you don't look at G2, it's incredibly powerful because you have the Gwen and the Skarner to really set up for Jin.
Full clear, now almost finished for Canyon and Skirmishes. Skirmishes needing to get on towards his blue buff pretty soon, but that Gromp will be dead momentarily. So we've got a bit of an engage here as Duro just trying to keep his 80 carry safe, but down to 100 is Ruler. One more auto attack would do it, but it doesn't actually come through. He'll still have to go home. Good news for G2, but unable to get that first blood is a bit heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking, but they get both summoners there. Knowing Ruler takes the cleanse in this draft because he's a relatively vulnerable target on this Jin means that he doesn't have barrier, and I think it was really good judgment there from Hansama. He just gets that one extra auto.
Just have to see when he does make it to those break points, right? 225 is what we're going to be looking out for later on in the game. Around 20 minutes being a decent clip for that one.
Does not have level 6 here. They're going to have to TP for the defense. Duro going to come over here. This should be able to stop the dive, but it is going to be matched, in fact, by Broken Blade. They want to double down.
Yeah, this is actually kind of crazy, though, because now Broken Blade has used that teleport to get towards the top side, and no one is going to be there to defend against Ruler, and he knows it. You can see continuing to shove up. The Chovy glazing will continue. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll try and focus elsewhere as much as we can.
Yeah.
But the dopamine of number goes up is just too much.
Well, I mean, when you look at the gold lead being so significant, or so insignificant as hold up, we're going to have a bit of a fight here.
Yeah.
Canyon has ult
through there as they're looking to turn it on to Duro, but there is the Impale to answer the ulti, and down goes the tree. Cap's now in trouble, does get saved by the Nature's Grasp from the grave, but Gen.G's answer was just too good, as in the meantime, Keen towards this bottom side, getting the scissors out against Broken Blade. And they will just, I was about to say trade ultimates, which I guess is technically correct, but not real, because it's Jace. But still, Keen going aggressive, looking for a bit of an angle.
That's
Gen.G looking for even more.
And that's a grub set up here for Gwen.
Duro playing with fire here a little bit on this bottom lane. And Keen just going to eat this wave. So it's just felt pretty dicey as once again, Hook going to come on through there. The flash forward, Broken Blade, I don't know about that one, and Lebrov is dead as well. The feats of warfare so comfortable here for Gen.G, as that was just a little bit of a whoopsie from P2.
Big disaster. Chovy now the target here, but it's going to be totally fine. Smolder doesn't even need to flash.
And this is like what makes it so hard against this composition as well, because you feel so much pressure to make things happen. You can understand why, you know, BB and Lebrov went for that that engage, because otherwise, if you don't do anything, you just lose. Like later in the game, this composition does infinity damage. And by this composition, I mean Smolder.
It is the Smolder, but it's also the Gwen that has 3 grubs.
Yeah, true. Side lane will be really hard.
You know, Broken Blade is already significantly behind in this matchup, especially after that play bottom side. I mean, that's the main reason why he's that far behind, but this Gwen is going to be a menace, as Chovy is going to back here after hitting 125. Look for that Trinity Force buy. I mean, things could not be better for Gen.G.
Nope. This is precisely what they wanted. In fact, they could have been a whole lot more even than this and still be feeling like they're absolutely winning, as Mom comes down in this mid lane. And his soul is going to put him back here, whether he likes it or not. Down to 100, has to ult away. The auto attack was not in the air, though. Down to 100 health, but will survive. And Chovy still wants more, sneezes over that wall. And yeah, maybe it's time to start thinking about what we can do to not give them a scaling draft next time around. As
Broken Blade
looking for BB here towards his top side as he just walks up, looks for the auto. The hook is not going to land. Does almost get the passive, but doesn't actually get it, as the heal going to come out. Actually played so well here by BB as they're looking for Duro. They will take that as the first kill. Can BB survive? That's the question, as Keen is untouched. The flash to follow here from Keen as the needlework is out, and they're not going to get greedy for the kill on to the Rel. I say that as Canyon looks to come in, throwing some rocks around here on this bottom side as he smites the Rel. Continues throwing things, but isn't going to continue further forward.
Keen, 3 grub Gwen, going to grab another plate. Skirmishes is here, but just a little bit too far away for Nature's Grasp. They push Lebrov away, stop his backs. Doubling up on control wards in this brush. Oh yeah. Ruler is not going to get caught, as this is just going to be a turret to go down here. Feats of strength were already Gen.G's, but they get the first turret as well.
Oh dear. Okay, never mind. There was no one there to follow up on Hansama. Bit of a check-in on Chovy, who's at about 170 stacks right now, 15 minutes. Does have, you know, 50 odd to go before he does hit that
the fastest possible for a mid lane Smolder is usually around 17 to 17:30, and he's kind of on track to potentially hit that, you know, if he's left to his own device, if he gets to get into another skirmish. Caps will trade a turret back, by the way. Yeah. And he has Skumon here to help him get out. I don't think Gen.G will be able to punish. So that's a big win. This has to be really G2 winning a convincingly swimmingly winning fight.
Wow, that
came out hard, but like it's hard for G2 to win it. It's hard to say it. As here we go.
Yeah, they're looking for it off against Labrov. Trophy over the wall doesn't like it as the Rift Herald going to be ridden down this mid lane. That'll finish off the outer turret. But Canyon is now going to be in a pretty awkward position. He's just so tanky, though. As the dredge line comes on through, Skumon going to get rooted, and they're just going to collect the jungler. He does make his way out, though, as they decide it's Labrov that dies first. And that is precisely what's going to happen. Duro looking a little worse for wear as the rockets from Han Summer are starting to hurt. But G2 don't like the idea of a 4 versus 5, especially with Caps on the top side of the map. And they're going to see what they can do in the cross map instead as they give away Soul Point.
So for those who don't know, which is probably very few of you, but we haven't seen Smolder be a mainstay champion in the meta for a long time. When he hits 225, he gets an execute marker like an Elder Drake, as we're going to have to talk about it later because Caps is dead. Yeah, Caps is dead. Maybe you can talk about it now, as the fate is indeed sealed. Unfortunately, it's the other person's. As Broken Blade's teleported in, does do a fair bit of damage here to Kane. You are actually behind because of the weaker early game. But this game, because Gen.G has such a lead, he's like, well, I mean, it's no rush. I'm still going to get it. By the way, he still hasn't gotten it. He needs one. He needs to just, like, last hit a minion with the Q. Just WQ that wave, Chovy. Okay. So manages. There we go. Okay, never mind. 28. 228. As Gen.G are going to look for the Archon here. Teleport to come in for Keen as well. All 5 committed. As Caps, I mean, there's just no information here for G2. They throw a sapling in. That might be able to help try and steal it away, but it's just not something that G2 are even going to attempt. As Canyon locks that one up. And Gen.G, 4,000 gold in the lead. Archon, feats of strength, everything that they could want. As Canyon looks for an Impale, does not quite get it. But he's going to be able to steal away the enemy Grump. They are able to, you know, deny a wave on the bottom lane. Parking himself on this wall. Shock Blast going to give away Broken Blade's position, and Keen just remaining out of vision right now. There's the hook to start things off as Canyon just gets amongst it, finds the Impale. It's a decent Magnet Storm, but they just don't quite have the damage. Hansama's going to get exhausted and then rooted up and taken down. It's a double for Keen as the root comes in yet again from Ruler, and Canyon just looks immortal. Ruler's going to get another kill. That's a double for the Jin. And Gen.G can do no wrong. They're going to look for a soul. Yeah, I'd love to see. I think it's looking like we're on the verge of the game being over and G2 needing to just focus on what's happening in game 2. But I think this game was over about 6 minutes ago. And in truth, like, I want to see the team fight damage in that one, because guess what? Caps and Chovy didn't show up. You know, that was a team fight win without Chovy scaling, without his stacks coming through. Yes, he was there at the very last second and got like 1 rotation of spells off after the fight was already over, but Caps didn't end up getting there at all. What's going to happen on this upcoming Baron in a minute's time here? Yep, that's going to be the target, as everything else has been taken here by Gen.G. Chovy just sneezing on some minions here on the top side. We'll be able to shove that wave forward. G2 haven't lost, you know, an inhibitor turret yet or anything like that. The base is still intact, but maybe not for too much longer as Duro going down exceptionally low. Magnet Storm comes in. Hansama will turn up to this fight as the Nature's Grasp comes on over. Mom not doing necessarily too much. It's actually reserved just for Broken Blade as Duro is able to hook a Merkwolf. Not necessarily the target they were looking for, as Hansama down to 0 health. Broken Blade going to get tagged by that first bullet, and Chovy just going to finish that one off as Caps ults over the wall and then dies. It's a quadra kill, and Wolf, that's what happens when the Smolder's in the fight. Yeah, he does 4,000 damage in this one, less than the Jin, actually, as he really just did cleanup on that, so actually Ruler doing most of the work at the early part of the fight with Keen. And that's it. A 25-minute game here in the first one. Who needs late game scaling? Is it a pentakill for Chovy here at EWC? I mean, it could be. There it is! The penta! I didn't even know that they were still in combat for that long. It's been a little while, but it's not long enough for that to wear off. Skumon can do nothing but watch, but 5 kills for Chovy, 25-minute game. Who needs late game when you can hit that? How do you get on top of this Sivir and Punisher is the question that G2 is going to have to answer, because the Azir is super safe, right? Has the Shurima Shuffle they could use to engage, but also can just use the Emperor's Divide defensively.
Lebrov not able to give that heal over to Hansama, but I guess he was at full health, so he doesn't worry about it too much. Like we were saying, it is indeed just vertical jungling here between these two junglers. Skewmon coming on over though, and just feeling like he can do battle with Canyon, and he absolutely can. The chomp is so valuable.
Skewmon really going to get a huge lead out of this. Canyon going to have to flash.
Yeah, Broken Blade looking for it. Does manage to vault break over the wall.
Okay, I thought he queued already, so he's fine. Doesn't have to flash. Still massive.
Wasn't exactly hoping to be in that position, and now Canyon possible gank angle as well. As there are flashes, everything else is available here as Canyon looks for the angle. Doesn't get too much, and there's the flash forward to block the Vault Breaker. Beautifully done. Duro gonna have to go in, make sure that he keeps his jungler alive and actually flashes out of the way. As Keen with the Darkened Blade is gonna be able to even things out relatively nicely, and it's going to be trading CS here between these top laners. Skewmon going to be able to get that double scuttle that you were talking about, as BB is going to be not pulled back by the Infernal Chains. Gets a nice Q to get that health bar back up again as ulti's traded here between these top laners, but BB's gives him a bit of extra health back alongside it, so it feels kind of nice to even just press the button even if nothing happens.
Yeah, that was a really good judgment there from Keen as well, knowing the level 6 was just around the corner. Even though they had 6 advantage, he knew that one extra minion was going to take it over. As here comes Skewmon in the mid lane.
Yeah, back actually going to complete here from Chovy, as Duro doesn't have flash, but he does have legs, so that gets him out of there.
Sometimes that's all. He's also got a mouse, and he's got a right-click button on it.
And a keyboard, baby. Worked real well.
And you will get away there, but it was a really nice timing trying to punish a potential split back. As TP is going to be committed here by Duro, and Hansama, I think, is just dead. He's got flash, but I don't know where he's going to go.
Yeah, looking to try.
Whoa, the trade though!
As he flashes forward, but there is a barrier available. Ruler is just going to burn down as Lebrov gets the ignite off. A 1-for-1 trade, but it's probably going to be 1-for-2 here, unless tanking the turret is a little bit dangerous here for these guys. As Lebrov, one more auto, but does get the knock up. It's 2 kills over to the support of G2. Never mind, one of them was in fact an execute. That's right. That's kind of unfortunate, but that is fine. Still good for G2.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to force the backs there, as Chovy is also going to fight Tibbers here. Hansama's judgment in this moment is actually so incredible, because he's like, all right, I've got my feathers set, I have to kite back here, and Lebrov is coming back over, right? Hansama knows, okay, got to flash this. We're going to go back to live.
Yeah, in the meantime, another fight is starting here as Hansama taking so much damage and didn't really have any way out, so he is just going to die. That is going to be a kill over to Ruler. He's finally on the board here in this game, and kills evened out between the two squads, and in fact the gold entirely evened out as well, basically.
That's a big win for Ruler. Now pulls ahead in that bottom side matchup in terms of gold. 3 grubs do go over, as I mentioned.
Oh dear, cease and desist here in this mid lane as they pull the Annie out, and that is Feats of Warfare over to Gen.G, and Chovy picking up his first. Well, this gets back to taking plates. Oh dear, Canyon, this is a little greedy, isn't it? As Hansama and Lebrov move in, there's the quickness flash. They don't want to give him any way out, and you can understand exactly why. As the Vi goes down, Canyon punished immediately.
Just had no vision there, and obviously had just used his ultimate.
Hansama looking a little worse for wear, but Skewmon getting that pillar down, making sure that he knows exactly where Gen.G is. Try and fight back. Teleport in from Cap's top lane, wanting to punish Keen here, who does have his flash available, uses it to get out of the way, but Tibbers comes down, and there should be the burst damage available, as never mind, Keen just umbrally dashes away. They should be able to get a fair bit of work done on this turret, but the Dragon should go over to Gen.G.
That's Dragon, and I just don't think that's worth it here. You're going to pick up some additional gold, but it's split here between 2 players, and I think a lot of this was about the fact that Hansama and Lebrov's gambit there in the mid lane does not pay off, is trying to engage now onto Duro. We'll see how well this goes.
Yes, Skewmon taking a lot from just the Boomerang Blade there, as well as Ruler is doing anything that he wants. Does get the Subjugate off, and that is going to give him a bit of his health back, but already, even on 1 item, this Sivir is getting scary.
So when they looked for that play on the Ruler and he spell shielded the knockup, you know, Hansama was already losing out, and the mid lane was significantly low, as this isn't done yet up here. Oh, man, Caps. There's no ult for Canyon. Caps does not have flash, though. He gets chained.
Well, everything kind of misses except for that Q2, and he's still, I think, going to be dead. Voltbreaker to finish him off, but Skewmon is going to kill Canyon. So a 1-for-1 is exactly what they were looking for on the side of G2. A little bit of a, I guess, overextension there from Gen.G. Could have just let him get away.
This game is getting a little bit weird. My issue is the fact that the farm here for Caps is very low. He doesn't have that much farm. You know, he's significantly behind Chovy here. This scaling Azir is going to do more damage in team fights. So the lead that G2 has right now is small, and that's problematic because they want it to be big. As oh boy, this
Empress
isn't it.
Divide delivers Broken Blade to the turret. He's down to 300, has to flash. And yeah, not exactly too happy about how this one's going, as another mid laner is going to get dove this time towards the top side of the map. The exhaust goes down onto Caps as Tibbers was trying to help out, but that is a successful dive. The world ending here is Chovy down to 200 here on the bottom side as Hansama is underneath the turret, manages to take down the Azir, and now Canyon will be falling as well. They overload the bot lane, and they get exactly what they want. G2, Canyon. Great play to answer. Is Canyon taking a while to die? But I just don't think Ruler's going to do anything.
He buys enough time here for Gen.G to end up getting that topside turret. You have to imagine on this next wave, which will be first turret, which will give them feats of strength. So ultimately, again, a trade up for Gen.G as Keen's just going to sit up here and go, well, Canyon trades his life for a kill, but I also get this turret. We also get Caps again. And it's these trades that look even, but I feel like Gen.G is getting slightly the better of them in each and every time.
Seen this one before, as Broken Blade taking a lot of damage here on the return to his turret.
And they give it up.
Just getting angry.
And looking for another turret instead, saying Herald would get me that, but we'll just take it here instead and look for potential crocodiles. Lebrov's coming over for the defense.
Yeah, going to be a trade of some Qs, or at least a Q for a W, as the exhaust goes down onto Canyon. They're going to try and burst him out, but he does create a lot of distance, and Duro comes in for the save.
Caps is like, all right, cool, he's out of here. I'm going to try to push as fast as I can on the top side and get a turret, and I think we should be okay down here on this bottom side. Good rotation here from G2.
Yeah, Duro actually canceling that one. Not sure about that, as the pillar is going to make things a bit uncomfortable, but Ruler's making his way over. Can Duro buy enough time? Is the Unbreakable Will finally going to get pressed? And Ruler does just say, get out of here. But still, like you were saying, that is the turret going down on the top side of the map. It is in trade.
Speaking of, now with the regroup there for Gen.G, they're looking to actually take their first dragon of the game here. It will be a Cloud Drake. And unfortunately for Gen.G, they're just not grouped up in any way to fight for this. And Duro's going to get pushed away. Chovy has TP, but
Duro doesn't have ult.
Side.
He's actually looking for a bit of an angle here to try and answer his, oh dear, yeah, Hansama going to be able to at least get an assist. I thought that they were going to try and leave him the kill, but the Drake goes over and a kill onto Duro.
Yeah.
His second of the game, and now Skewmon doing that I'm going to walk at you thing, and now Ruler is just going to get eaten underneath the turret. Lebrov comes on over, and the flash, just a little bit unfortunate.
I think that's 100% worth.
So many angles. No, it's fantastic here for G2, as Caps is really, no, not dead. Keen gonna need another rumble dash if he wants to get over, and there is the flash to get himself out of there. Tibbers now fighting alongside as Chovy looking to make his way in. That's gonna make things more difficult here for G2. Slice and dice activated. And
Hansama gets a turret. Now, I mean, before I was like, okay, G2 are not giving up things on both sides of the map. They're always matching. Now they're taking the driver's seat. They're 1,000 gold ahead. They win on both sides of the map. G2 really pulling ahead after what was, you know, kind of absorbing a lot of the pressure, a lot of the punches here from Gen.G, making all the right calls, waiting, biding their time for the right moment. And that right moment did occur as, once again, Duro in no man's land.
Yeah, he is going to be able to get a stun. There is the pushback on Lebrov, but he's just dead. Duro just misreading the state of the map right now. Things are certainly turning more in G2's favor.
Since Duro has joined this incredible streak, he keeps getting punished, and G2 just get further ahead.
Well, Caps now looking to clear out this minion wave, but there is a Keen looking for him. The World Ender coming on through as down goes Tibbers. That's a decent quickness there from Lebrov to buy some space as Keen's flashing for it. The heal comes in though, and Keen just unable to close the gap. Caps able to move himself back. They don't kill the Aatrox, which would have been nice, but they don't. He doesn't manage to get his jump.
Well, maybe they will.
Hansama is looking for the angle. There's the flash forward. Keen wants to be able to do something, but he doesn't. And Hansama is going to get yet another one. The outplays here from G2 are fantastic. And now, in the second game.
Now G2 just keep winning on both sides of the map here. They're going to have to get a teleport from the Alistair, look for a pick, and I don't think it's enough.
Yep, cease and desist coming on through there, and somehow Canyon actually lives. He flashes out of the way as Chovy gets the Sand Soldiers together, and this game is not over yet. Not if the Emperor of Shurima has anything to say about it. This inner turret eventually going to be falling as the trample will come on through, and Canyon gets the Vault Breaker and breaks the Annie with it.
Okay, well, it was a lot harder than I thought it was. It was successful, but it was still very hard. I thult it was going to be impossible. It was hard, but Gen.G still make it work. Duro ends up getting the TP in there. The arm guard has been bought here for Chovy. Such a great timing here. His ult is coming back online as well, but not quite ready yet.
Yep, Broken Blade does spot out that this Otacon has been started. The pillar goes up, and let's see what G2 can get done here. It looks like they're not going to be able to get in. The Otacon is just down, and Gen.G will be able to secure it for themselves. Nothing lost on the side of G2 because they give this one up, and now they're just going to look for this outer turret towards this bottom side, try and get a cross map happening.
Yeah, Hansama should be able to get this turret here uncontested, so that's going to be some extra gold in his pocket. He has a very large lead. That's going to be a huge win for him, as Caps actually has his flashback here, could collapse onto Chovy.
Yeah, Chovy is worth a whole lot of money here as Canyon obviously shadowing, as there is the quickness, gets the charm onto Chovy, and the flash forward from Caps says, yes, we are killing this Azir, and they absolutely are. The redemption does come down. Caps doesn't get the heal, but he doesn't need it because he's out of there. Ruler throws the boomerang, but Caps sidesteps that one as well. A nimble little girl is this Annie, and now, oh my goodness, how did he live? Ruler gonna get taken out. Hansama with the double, and G2, a perfect answer to Gen.G. And like you say, this is just a pendulum between these squads this game.
And Gen.G come for the play here, but they're just too slow. They're not set up as fast. They trickle through for what is the big fight that G2 want to take to bring this to a third game, and that may happen in about 30 seconds time here as the Baron spawns. Gen.G, faster group though, and they're going in.
Canyon just pulls the trigger. They look to take down Caps. He does manage to fall. The exhaust is so good onto Hansama, but now it's worn off. Can they actually take him down as Duro? He's going to be his target. The feather recoil is massive, and they couldn't do it. Hansama's a blender, and they just walked into it. Canyon, a very, very short Vault Breaker, and I think he is going to be going down here. The Stride Breaker, Skirmishes didn't need to flash, but he did anyway because he felt like it, and the Baron spawns just in the nick of time.
Ruler wasn't there. 0 damage in the team fight. The 6,500 from Hansama. The charm from LeBron, amazing there on the peel. They just cannot get on top of this Aya. I mentioned Hansama had a role to play, but Gen.G played right into his hands. 9 kills now. We saw a TP committed there from Duro. It was a bit absurd.
A weird angle that Canyon's found himself in.
Hansama does have flash and ult.
Yeah, Canyon being very, very patient. Ruler's just dead. Never mind. Maybe too patient. Maybe Ruler wasn't patient enough. I'm not entirely sure, but that was embarrassing. As now, Gen.G looking to back away, not wanting to let any more fall. We've spoken about the Ruler position, Wolf. Maybe not so much this tournament, but that was an example of exactly what that is.
Yeah, that was potentially game losing here. I mean, the game was definitely in G2's hands, but I think that's the backbreaker. No more Sivir, no more wave clear. And G2, now the base is open. That's the first inhibitor to fall here. They will back away, try to grab a second. That bottom wave, though, is at the midway point, so there's no wave to crash through. Baron fades away.
Respect where it's interesting. G2 having a phenomenal game, too, here. Brilliant bounce back.
Yeah, it's interesting that Caps is 1-5 this game. He's 1,200 gold behind Chovy, but I feel like in every Caps death, there has been a win for G2. You know what I mean? As Chovy is now dead, maybe.
Okay, this is a very weird one. Yeah, Chovy is extraordinarily dead. Couldn't even use his Zhonya's to keep himself alive. As G2 looking a little worse for wear, but not really too worried about it, as they will take down this inner turret and look for another inhibitor in mid. Still dead. This is going to be even more super minions to deal with. And G2, they are not overextending. They're not looking to try and end the game when they don't necessarily have a foolproof opportunity to do so.
But his sacrifices were not in vain, and G2 stayed in the game. Hansama was able to clean up so many of the fights, punish Gen.G so significantly that I just feel like there's no way back. And Ruler is dead again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was about, but he did face check.
He looks mad, too, on the player cam. He's frustrated. He did not want to play a 3-game series before potentially making it to the finals, and now he's probably worried about his path there as this game is all but over.
That face check looked like he really did want to play a 3-game series and wanted to get into game 3 as quickly as possible, Wolf. That's what it looked like to me as G2 looking to take down the last remaining inhibitor turret. That is going to fall. Inhibitor soon to follow as Gen.G waiting underneath their Nexus turrets. G2 pushing forward. Tibber's getting aggressive. And G2 not pushing up more than they necessarily can, as Labrov, he can't because he's Rakan.
Double super minions across every lane means to get to the Baron is your toughest challenge, and they just simply will not be able to do it. Caps holds the line here. Super fast with his shield. He's just like shields himself and he's zooming. Attempt one more flank fight, one more jump onto the carry, but Hans almost got flash and ult, so best of luck to our last LCK representative. I think Gen.G is probably thinking about game 3. One more fight, one more chance.
Possible, but they'll need an absolute miracle if they want to hold on to this one, and I think they need to do it about 3 times.
I mean, Hans Sama's got GA, he's got level 18. There is no holes in this game plan.
Well, Keen going to ult and flash. Was looking to try and start something, but yeah, G2 take the invitation. They're just going to eviscerate Gen.G. It's a double already for Hans Sama. Can it be back-to-back pentakills in this game? Is Canyon likely to be the 3rd for Hans Sama? Keen and Ruler standing near their fountain. Hans Sama well and truly legendary. I don't know whether the Nexus is going to last. It's a Quadra, and there it is, the back-to-back pentas. Game 1 and Game 2 for both teams.
Hans Sama Xayah has been a terror.
Well, these are your compositions. Chovy is very famous for his Galio play, but I feel like this comp doesn't have the same amount of cohesion that we've seen from others in Gen.G's past. This on the side of G2, pretty stock standard. Team fighting composition.
So G2 have a lot of early game control.
Well, let's see what Canyon can get done here. Looking for an early gank onto Caps. If they can get a flash, it's a big deal, and they do manage to get it. Can they get more as the scat of the week is so good? Wind becomes lightning, no dive here for Canyon. They're going to be happy with a flash, a return gank. Well, that's what it is. You just need to be a bit clairvoyant, I guess, is maybe the way. As G2 feeling like maybe there's going to be a gank on the way, but this wave is in a little bit of an unfortunate position. 3v3 as Canyon makes his way out. Labrov gets audaciously charged, but the Cyclone comes on in. That's a fantastic Crescent Guard, and First Blood goes over to Ruler. It will be answered immediately as Skewmon takes him down, and Canyon not going to be diving the turret just yet. So First Blood is going to come in as Keen. That was a bit of a surprise. Public execution, and Hans Sama lying on the floor in the blink of an eye.
Keen sneaked all the way through the middle of the map. I was watching him rotate up. He pushed the bottom wave, came over with the prio that Chovy had, and walked all the way in. They continue to exchange there in the top side of the map to make it look like a juicy opportunity for Hans Sama to continue to chase. It gets caught by the end of the public execution, and now Canyon is going to be able to take all of these grubs. Ult comes through here for Broken Blade, doesn't have TP, can come over here, and that's the TP that comes up here from Keen. Gets into this, they bait this over.
Meanwhile, in live, Ruler in a little bit of trouble here as Hans Sama just needs a little bit more. There is the Galio to come down, and the last Mystic Shot misses! And so Ruler is left alive. Gen.G still need to invest a fair bit into this one, and G2 are taking a Dragon in the meantime. Man, that was so close to an extra kill, evening things out there for G2.
That was very, very close, but unfortunately not quite enough. Ruler will get lucky this time. As Chovy is super low, they want to try to turn this into something more.
Teleport available here for Chovy as well. So Skewmon going to make his way in. Cap's going to steal the Bramble back. And there is that teleport that we were talking about. The smite from Canyon is going to take his red. And Chovy, with that teleport, he's going to make sure that there is no further aggression.
Could have been a huge angle for the side of G2, but instead it's still a very even game here. Hans Sama now the target as they look for a potential dive.
Yeah, the flash forward from Duro, but he misses. And the teleport is going to make sure that Hans Sama stays alive. Duro shows them the door, and he will make it out. But bit of egg on the face of the newest player of Gen.G. I say newest came in at the same time as Ruler, but Ruler still had many, many years on this org, so I'm going to say newest.
I think that's still correct.
Yeah, I think it makes somewhat sense.
I mean, it's a big win for Gen.G though, because they got the TP out of Broken Blade. Now it's the ult top side. Are they going to get the punish here onto Keen? I don't think so.
Yeah, the public execution comes down. Nimbus Strike is the last of the gap closed there for Skewmon, as
the side of G2 kind of works out because Skewmon did that. Now he doesn't have his ultimate here, or this skirmish.
Yeah, moving over. Wind becomes lightning, doesn't quite land, but there's the flash taunt as Caps is the target. Skewmon doesn't have any buttons left because he just used them to try and take down Keen in the top lane. And the heroic entrance is going to try and get the knock-up, gets the flash out instead, as now Broken Blade is inside the Thunderdome, and he's flashing, looking for the angle. Canyon needs to keep hitting if he wants to stay alive, and he does so. Lebrov is booking it to this top lane and gets the flash out from Canyon. There is a route onto Keen. He has to flash to get out of the way of the Q, and Duro is going to turn up as well. Everyone's making their way in, and it's G2 that are starting to lie on the floor. Broken Blade is going to get stunned up, as these concussive blows are so dangerous if they get layered one after the other. And the Zombie Scion will be ignored as Gen.G win the fight.
Caps teleports top lane, will only get minions. Gen.G are out of there.
The answers were always there. Caps flashes immediately afterwards. Chovy is flashing away. They get Skewmon's flash, and then Canyon knows that he can then flash away from the Wukong because he can't get in there. It's ridiculous, the dominoes that have to fall in order to make sure that these fights are clean. And Gen.G now with the first big lead of this game to the tune of about 2,000. That's only extended here as Keen gets the first turret
as well as beats the
game. Exactly right. So that's going to be some cool shoes that they put together.
G2.
This is going to be second Drake though for G2.
Let's see what the soul is, because this could be quite significant. Okay, it's going to be Infernal. That is big.
Here in Riyadh, as Lebrov fighting against Duro and Ruler here. As Hansama looking a bit worse for wear at the back end of it.
Herald
to be dropped here in the mid lane.
They're going to clear this wave and look for the collapse onto this turret. May force a reaction out of Skewmon.
Fair bit of damage to this turret as well. They might be able to take this one down. Full mini wave is there, and full grubs, or actually a couple of the grubs, but still able to take that one down. So very nicely done here by Gen.G, keeping the pressure up.
They're just not even going to let go of that pressure, forcing Skewmon back here. Oh. Ruler looking for the all-in.
I don't know about that one, as Ruler needs to be blocked there by Duro. A bit of a trust fall, I guess, into the mid lane to make sure that Duro was paying attention. And now Lebrov going to be fighting against Canyon. There's a heroic entrance just to scatter G2 to the wind. The taunt to come down. Connects onto a clone and Lebrov. Lebrov might be the target they're looking for, but G2 do make their way out. And Gen.G will back off as well. But you can see, with how far up Gen.G are pushed, they still have so much tempo right now.
I mean, he still had flash and barrier. He's just playing on the tightrope here. Skewmon wants that angle. He just isn't going to find it. Keen rotates over here. True shot.
Okay, Keen flashing, get himself out of the way, ults, and doesn't find anything but the air, and will keep himself alive. It was an awkward scenario. Now Cap's in a little bit of trouble as a turret is taken down by Chovy, who is definitely not here, by the way. He's got a teleport available as everyone is so low. The scout of the week is going to take down Duro as Kane executes Caps before going down. That looked absolutely insane. Arcane Shift from Hansama gets him to relative safety as Gen.G feeling like they have control of the mid lane. G2 in a little bit of an unfortunate position is into the back line, goes Keen delivering a gargoyle. It gets a knock up onto Skewmon, but down goes Keen to start this up. The taunt is so good. The Winds of War only onto Lebrov though, and there is the culling to take down Skewmon. And now the Gen.G freight train is a-rolling, and they're looking for Broken Blade. The Dragon still up and available. Gen.G looking worse for wear as Hansama, exactly right, looking to try and do some of this cleanup.
5,000 damage nearly on Hansama in this exchange. So bold, never afraid to look for those E's forward to maximize the damage. The Crescent Guard is down, and G2 start up the Dragon. Chovy's back though with the TP, and G2 are going to think better of it. They already have a 2 Drake lead. They're down 3,000 gold. If they threw this fight, gave the Dragon and kills to Gen.G, it would certainly spell their end in this tournament, despite it being so close, despite that pick onto Keen. Canyon being that second front line is just a bit too much. As for Gen.G, they end up pushing Lebrov away. Has to now back, so there's a window here to potentially start up this Otacon. Chovy doesn't have TP, but he has his ultimate available, and I think that's enough.
Yeah, they just saw him go home.
Now, Hansama can rotate over faster. He and Broken Blade have control of the mid lane, but they have to be quick. They have to be fast here as Cap's trying to offer poke, but it's not enough. LeBron running over as fast as he can, and this fight is about to break out.
Yep, this Galio can be here at a moment's notice as well. You can see Broken Blade is trying to deal with him, but he needs to get there as well. As Canyon looking for the angle, there's the public execution as Keen will just decimate Hans Sama. They'll try to take down Skewmond as well, I'll correct myself, as he does make it out, but the Otacon is going to be secured here by Gen.G. Caps all out of mana actually, and not with too many options either, as that was a cute little Q over the wall from Broken Blade, but he's not really able to do anything. The prize is already claimed here for Gen.G, and they're only extending that lead.
Only their second of the game, but those stats are so relevant when you start getting those percentage-based
Infernals, man? Oh god.
Percentage-based ADAP adding up so much, and if you get a third one plus the soul itself, I mean, this Lucian hits so hard. Even Chovy's Qs are going to be massive later on. And there's just no side lane angle. Like, yeah, they push mid, they don't get anything, but they get the dragon, and it's not like, oh, that Syndra's pushing that top. Not really. It's a Syndra. You know, she can't actually threaten the cross, and then Chovy just slowly goes up and answers as Keen demolishes this Scion, makes the Scion look like he's made out of aluminum. Like,
yeah. The Outguard is a big deal as well for Chovy. The fact that he can dive in on top. Hopefully he presses it this time around as LeBron.
Chovy on the flank.
So much, yeah. Chovy looking for that taunt angle, gets it onto Hans Sama. The immediate follow-up with the public execution. They do get the chain CC onto Keen, but he then gets the shield from Chovy on this Galio. The double taunt comes in now. Caps with the scat of the week. Canyon taking a fair bit of damage, but he has the Crescent Guard to stay safe. No one dead just yet, though. This could be good for G2, but now another taunt to come forward. Keen following up, and Hans Sama is finally executed. Canyon finds the knock up. There's the Q as well from Duro to make sure he goes down. The clone is executed as well, but G2 lose both of their damage dealers, and now Gen.G can take whatever they want.
Hans Sama's greed is finally punished there. We talked about how he walks the tightrope, how he walks the edge of these fights, maximizing damage. I think he thought he was for sure scot-free on this one to go back in there, and he's caught by a hiding, lurking Chovy taunt. Down summoners, no way out.
So Gen.G not actually looking to start off any fights, just looking to buy space for this Lucian to take down the turret. This is looking dangerous though, as he is moving further and further into the enemy base. There's Scat of the Week. Ruler taking so much damage. Duro is going to be set up as Skewmon gets the flash out of this Lucian, and then he just culls him where he stands. Gen.G just feeling too far ahead this time, and Ruler baits them to overextend. Hans Sama is going to fall down, and I think that last play was the backbreaker, and Gen.G just walk all over them here.
Ruler has his flash, nearly as IE as his fourth item. He just does so much damage. If you don't kill him instantly, he will just kill each and every member of G2 and kill their chances of another final appearance. They were so close, but Gen.G say no cigar. They will take game 3. They will be LCK's finalist representatives. They will make it to the finals they never got to see in 2024.
Yeah, last time they were dispatched extraordinarily early on. This time they go the whole way. They remain undefeated in series as well, putting that number at 25.